And we are live. Episode 9 of the Young and Hungry FireCast. I'm Zach Homol, my boy Jay _Azeltine. What's up, Jay?
What up, Zach? Episode 9. We are just moving along, cranking them out, baby.
Every week, man, but like 9 weeks deep. Like, that's a long time, man. It's over 2 months.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, like, it's starting to flow better as well. And Zach and I noticed that. I mean, it's just human nature. The more you, Zach and I have known each other now for a year or two, and we haven't really been as close as we have recently, though. So now that we spent some time a few weeks ago together in person, a whole weekend together, and doing the weekly podcast and talking on the phone a couple of times a week, we're really getting a good feel for each other. And the conversation is starting to flow more naturally, just like it's just a couple of dudes shooting the shit, which is what all good podcasts are. It's just a real conversation. So now we're really starting to move towards that, and it seems to really start to flow as you really get to know someone. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's real cool to have people reach out to us on social media and stuff too. Like, man, every week the podcast gets better and better. I feel like 30 to 50 Snapchats after they listen to the podcast. Like, dude, you and Jay are really starting to get so much better. So
yeah,
people are actually seeing our growth, if they're with us from day one to the podcast, the 9th episode now, they're like, dude, you guys are getting better as you go. So they're actually seeing like everything we're saying too is working for us. So as we're like almost teaching, educating, we're in the process of educating ourselves too. So it's really cool to see.
It's exactly how it is. And like we've talked about before, it keeps us accountable too, because at the end of the week, you're going to have to get on there and really talk about the past week. And so it definitely keeps you accountable. And it's interesting, though, because what we were just talking about before the show started is we want to start giving a more in-depth look on our lives as well and like what's going on. So it's more of like it's not like a reality show, but it's like you guys can follow along. And again, the whole purpose is seeing the ups and downs and what we're going through. So for me specifically, I want to get more into like how the past week went and the details and stuff to really bring you guys in and feel even more close to what we're doing.
Yeah, almost using, the first episode podcast as like a journal of the week, saying, hey, this is, and really giving what the hell was going on, the highs and lows, because it's easy to mask. Everyone on social media, especially the majority of these fitness people, just mask what they're actually doing. They're always like, hype, 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 hype. And I'm a hype guy 24/7, don't get me wrong, but I still have lows. I know Jay still has those. We talk about them a lot on the phone, our highs and lows. So now we're like, hey, man, we need to really bring this to the podcast so everyone can see that it's human nature. You have your highs, your lows, and there's things you don't know, and shit gets tough, and just crazy situations happen in your life. It's how you handle that adversity. So we're going to start bringing it to the table.
I think that's why people, and this is with a lot of the feedback I get, and I know I'm sure you do as well, like people really like us and Corey and just the whole crew because we're so real. Somebody tweeted us last night and said that our crew is the realest in the fitness industry, which is, appreciate the hell out of that. But I think people really like that because in the fitness industry in specific, and just online in general, now that branding is becoming so popular and so forth on social media and all that kind of crazy shit, people really enjoy the truth that we give them and just the real us. Most people, specifically in the fitness industry, are so fake.
Yeah, I think it's the rawness too, man. You can just tell we're just raw, we're real. Now, on the backside of things, like we're all very goal-driven and excited, hyper guys. We're not come at you're going to listen to a podcast about us complaining all the time. We're not complaining. Jay, can you believe technology try to fuck our games up on the podcast?
Dude, it's killing our games. You can never trust technology.
Fuck no, you can't, man. I'm not used to technology too. I'm a coal miner. I'm not a technical guy. All right, guys, we're back with you here. So we're talking about the rawness. We're bringing the rawness to the game. I think there are some people in the fitness industry who are, and you can definitely point them out like, dude, that dude's real. He's acting like a real guy. And another thing, I can never connect with a lot of people in the fitness industry, especially when they're 18, 19, 20 years old, already have this huge following. They've never not that I know of, who knows having behind closed doors, but they've never had a real job, dealt with in the way I looked at, like adversity to go to the gym. Like, homeboy, you ain't worked 10, 12 hours on construction work and then went to the gym. Like, so it's hard for me to relate to those guys. Like, but when I come up to them, if I see these guys, I still have that confidence in me. Like, motherfucker, I got you. I've beaten you mentally because I've already gone through that adversity of having to work 16 hours underground, then going to the gym and doing a max effort squat.
Plus,
so if you
go ahead. No, go ahead, Fish.
So if you're in like that, if you're that guy right now who's working those 10, 12, 14-hour days and then going to the gym after, use that to your advantage mentally. Even though that guy next to you, your buddy, might have more energy because he didn't have to work all day. He's in college. He's hung out and ate all day. Use it to your advantage that you're more mentally tough than him. And every single day you're getting more and more mentally tough because you're having to deal with that adversity, having to get beat down on your construction job and then train. It's only going to make you a stronger human, both mentally and physically.
Yeah, man, that's definitely an advantage, I would say. Like, a lot of the most successful people came from really shitty beginnings. I mean, it seems to be one of the key factors. I mean, there's obviously a lot of successful people you don't have to come from shitty beginnings. I came from a pretty good upbringing. So you don't have to come from a shitty beginning, but it's definitely an advantage if you use it the correct way. But what I was going to say, though, with regards to people with big followings, and this is something we're going to talk about today, this episode is going to be very social media based, and we're going to talk about strategy and so forth. But a lot of people with big followings, they don't utilize it. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to monetize their following. And when I see people with followings, like, the first thing I think of is, like, how can these people monetize their following and make money? That's just how my mind works. Like, how can you use this to make money? How can you use it to help people, which kind of ties in with how can you make money. But a lot of people really miss the boat with those big followings, man. They just don't know how to really turn that huge number of followers into money and currency. So that's something we can talk about today as well, is really different ways to, once you build up a following, how to actually monetize it. And we've had the benefit of being around someone like Corey, who's obviously one of the best people at figuring out how to build a following and then how to actually utilize it and turn that into a lifestyle and something that can pay the bills and then some.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you said. A lot of people have these 70, 80, 90,000 followers, and I'm like, your interaction sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got the width, they don't have the depth.
Yeah, you have all the depth, but you don't have the width.
That's a whole nother conversation, is figuring out how to get people to engage with you. There's strategies behind that as well. But before we dig into that,
so basically, like Jay said, we're talking about capitalizing on big followings. We said we're going to talk about the social media moving forward. But here's a couple ways that I've capitalized on. I don't consider my following to be big, but I have a very loyal following. Why? Why do I have a loyal following? Because I consistently give back. I'm always giving content. I'm always answering questions. But I couldn't have gotten here without paying my dues moving into this. So I had to learn everything I've learned. Been training 11 years to be able to give the content I'm giving you guys and be knowledgeable enough to give it.
You've built the following organically as well. That's a key point is some people you see with a big following, they blew up off one video. So they didn't take the time to build it up organically, giving out information and giving out content. They blew up, and that's when you can really tell, like, if someone doesn't have any depth, they likely either have fake followers or they blew up very spontaneously with one YouTube video or whatever. So go on.
Yeah, like, for instance, dude, I don't even use hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just started using a few hashtags the other day, which we'll talk about social media a little bit more in depth. But I don't even use just win the day.
Mm-hmm.
This was my hashtag, so I didn't even build it even off hashtags. It was strictly off giving good content. So my first business on quote that I created, which is now actually a registered business, was my online training, and I literally built it through Instagram, Snapchat, but it all started on my Instagram platform because that was where my the biggest following was. So I grew that to my best month was a $9,000 a month for online training. It was my best month, which was like my third month into it, and then I started applying a little bit less time towards online training. So I cut the people down, raised my my packages, made the demand a little bit more, and lost some people, whatever. And then I moved on towards the gym. So as soon as I have the online training, as soon as I got it figured out, I'm like, okay, now what can I do? I can never just have things working smooth for me. I need chaos.
That's how your brain works.
So the next thing I do is I decide I want to open a gym. It's always been a goal of mine to have a hardcore gym. Basically a place to, to produce content, to bring strong people in. I like that atmosphere, the old school gym, the Rocky Road feel. That's why I wanted. Indy didn't have it. So I made sure I wanted to bring it to Indy. So I went ahead, opened up the gym here in town. So now I got the online training and the gym and then the one-on-one training, all from my social media. Most people I haven't yet. My interns are when I just hired an intern. I'll talk about this too. But I haven't yet gone door to door to local businesses and passed out flyers or left cards. I did it at two GNCs. There's hundreds of businesses around me, but I haven't done it yet. I built my membership at my gym to 100 members strictly through social media.
Mm-hmm.
And 45 members roughly pay the bills. So everything after that's profit, you're obviously going back into the gym. So here's 3 businesses, if you count the one-on-one trade at the gym too. There are 3 ways I'm making money through my social media. So moving forward with that, I'm like, okay, now that I got my gym squared away, I'm feeling comfortable here. I'm feeling comfortable with my online training. I'm able to handle that. I'm just basically just killing it at each thing. I understand how to do it. I got to figure it out. It's taking less time out of my day. Moving forward, I'm like, hey man, how else can I make money? What's a different floodgate I can open? Apparel line. So I go ahead and decide to open up this apparel line. I was selling T-shirts off email. Basically, you send me what size. I send you an invoice. I'm sure some of you guys got shirts. And I ship them out to you guys. I was like, hey, I need a website. I'm losing a lot of people. I need a website. So I go ahead, I hook up with a third party, and a buddy of mine also comes in business with me. He has 30% of the company he buys in. So he buys into the clothing line, and I have a third party running it. The third party takes care of the website, creating designs, printing, ordering the shirts, and shipping them. I have to take care on the back end, the customer service, obviously, because I like to deal with the customer service, So now that I have them dealing with it, my buddy Kurt, there's been a little bit of confusion. And so I want to hit on this and talk about the confusion that can happen if you have business partners and that you guys aren't all firing on the same cylinders. So Kurt was under an impression that the third party was going to tell us when we were low on products. But the third party thought that we were going to keep track of it, and no. So now we're out of shirts. We basically sold out of a bunch of shirts, and we're selling a lot of shirts. We're doing well. But I know for sure I've lost 10, 15 sales because people's hit me up on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Hey, Zach, I'm trying to order a shirt, but you don't have it in my size. So I hit up Kurt. I said, Kurt, what's going on? He's like, dude, I thought they were going to tell me. So basically we got on a 3-way call. We discussed everything moving forward, what we got to do. So huge if you're going into business with, even if just one person, communication's key. I think a weekly conference call is it's a must. You have to, even me and Jay have it for the podcast because we kind of handle this, moving forward as a business. So we even have our weekly calls and we talk to each other. So that's definitely huge moving forward. I also think the reason why I wasn't 100% in the clothing line, I think I could still be doing better if I'd have put, more eggs in that basket. But instead, I kind of have myself ran a little bit thin right now. We're starting up Max Effort Muscle. We dropped that on social media 2 nights ago, 2 nights ago. So I'm sure you guys seen it, see what's going on. It's Travis Brown, Clay Guida, John Fosco, Corey, Dustin, and myself all involved in the company. All of us bringing content, all of us having ownership in the company. So super excited, starting that up. Obviously, the startup's a grind. And then on top of that, I got my website dropping. So both Max Effort Muscle and my website are dropping within 4 weeks. So just total chaos in my life the past 2 or 3 weeks. And when I get all this chaos, I do get overwhelmed. Like I talked about this one podcast, dude. I'm like, this shit gets piled up. And especially when I sit down and look, I'm like, dude, this is a lot of stuff to do in fucking 20 hours today. I have to work. And I still try to find time to eat and hang out with my family, train. So it does get overwhelming. I keep on setting on my to-do list. I keep on working on banging them out every single day. And even if I have a good day or a bad day, I try to keep it on short-term memory loss because there's a few days I just totally kill it. And I'll kill it, and the next day I'll wake up like not with almost the same drive, where it's just like, hey, I killed it yesterday. I can almost let up a little bit. No, that's just when you have to double down. So I have to give myself a little pep talk every morning. Get your ass out of bed. You ain't sleeping in today. You got to get up and hustle. So that's how my week's going, man. It's been good. It's been a little bit chaotic. Getting the Max Effort Muscle set up, getting the website set up, the Zach Homol Power site. The amount of content, I know we've discussed this a little bit, but the amount of content we're putting on there is just, it's ridiculous, man. Breaking down every movement literally by the inch. So it's just so much content, so much video work. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work, but it's going to be really good moving forward. Like I said, I made that switch. I knew when I opened the gym that I was going to lose a lot of people online training, but my goal was to not just have an online training business where I had, 15, 20 people at only a price that those people could afford because, the rest of the world couldn't. It was to have an online training business where everyone in the world can afford it so I can impact more people. So exciting now that it's actually, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming and I'm almost there. So that's super exciting.
Damn.
That's what I got this week.
Love
Jay,
it.
man.
I love it.
Crazy week. Good week though, moving forward. I'm going home this weekend and spend some time with the family. So I should be driving through Columbus. I'm excited about that. We're going to do some hiking and
the
different
city,
things.
baby, Columbus.
Yeah, we'll be driving through Columbus, and we're heading back to the boonies, man. Eastern Ohio, West Virginia area. So I'm excited to get home, man. What you going on? What happened this week, Jay?
Yeah, man. So interesting week. So the last couple of years, I'm just going to touch on this real quickly. I'm not going to get into the details, but the last couple of years, I've been feeling like very fatigued all the time. Not like normal fatigue, like where, I'm kind of tired, like ultra, like chronically fatigued, like physically, mentally, just very down all the time, and like energy wise in the gym, something felt off. And I kind of thought it was just me. So recently I decided to finally go to the doctor and get some blood work done to see if I was lacking anything. Turned out, lacking something very drastically. Again, I'm not going to really get into the details, but it's something that really affects pretty much everything: your energy, mentally, physically, your focus, your gains in the gym. So basically, I figured out that there was something going on. It wasn't just me mentally, so I was kind of relieving. So an interesting week, though, in regards to that. So right now I'm working with a couple of doctors to try to figure out exactly how to get my levels back to normal and so forth. So again, that was kind of the negative of the week, but also a positive knowing what it is and now going forward, attacking it head on. So moving on from that, though, positives of the week. I mean, my social media continues to grow. Instagram, like we talked about, seems to really continue to grow organically. And we'll talk about the hashtags in a bit, but I have been using the hashtags, and for the longest time I didn't. So I think I'm starting to grow a little bit from the hashtags, but it seems to be just organically, because when your posts on Instagram get a lot of love, they go onto the Discover page. So people that follow you, their friends, I think is how it works. They start to see your stuff, and then they start to follow you. So I think that's been helping my Instagram page grow. I continue to give out the content, at least one workout a week, and one of my social media platforms that's been growing the most quickly, I would say, is the Snapchat. So I've had a strategy with my Snapchat to push a lot of so basically my goal is to push my Instagram following all over to my Snapchat. So I like Snapchat because it's, and again, we'll talk about this in a bit. I like Snapchat because it's very intimate. You can really answer questions quickly. There's a lot of benefits to Snapchat. So basically I'm trying to get all my Instagram onto Snapchat as well. So one way I've been doing that is I'm sure you guys see the free workouts that I give out at least once or twice a week. So lately I've been only having the workouts live on Snapchat, and then I'll post a little teaser preview on Instagram and Twitter and say, hey, here's a superset from today's workout. And then I'll say the full workout is on Snapchat. Here's my Snapchat, add me, and then you can get the full workout. And so basically that's been really driving a lot of traffic to my Snapchat. And the cool thing with Snapchat is you have a really good barometer for how much love you're getting, because you'll see how many eyes you get on each snap, but also when you post like a workout per se, you can see how many screenshots you get. And that's kind of a tall tale, like it tells you basically where you're at. So my screenshots per workout have been continuing to increase. I posted an arm workout last week and I got 175 screenshots on that, which, I mean, it's pretty decent for it's only been relatively the last month or two that I've really been actually applying myself on Snapchat. So I'm happy with that. I want to get up to over 200 screenshots per workout and continue to the onward growth. But yeah, so that's one of just the strategic things that I've been working on with my social. Again, both of them are continuing to grow. I'd say the Snapchat's growing the fastest as I'm starting to actually put content out, and again, driving the traffic from Instagram. Instagram continues to grow. I think as we get closer, both Zach and I and the whole crew, as we get closer to the Muscle Beach and the hype really builds around that, I think both of our pages are going to continue to grow, because one of the biggest things with social media is that if you storytell correctly and you have cool shit going on, people are going to want to follow along. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you do it correctly and you storytell the right way, people are going to feel like they're a part of it, which is what I'm going for. I want people to feel like they're a part of the cut as well, and the whole journey towards the Muscle Beach shoot. So I've really been putting a lot of my content towards the whole prep process, and it's going to get even more in depth here in the next few weeks as I start to really dial it in nutrition wise. So if you storytell correctly, people are going to really follow along and want to follow you in regards to that. So social media wise, things are going really well. Happy with it. I have some ideas for some more content, which I think will again organically grow it and continue to build that depth. That's the biggest thing. And Zach and I both have really good depth. We don't have the biggest followings yet, which we will in time. But with the amount of people that follow us, our depth is absolutely ridiculous. And Zach, I've noticed especially lately, like to some of your page, some of your Instagram posts will get like 10 to 20 comments, and people just engaging and so forth. And again, there's ways to get people to engage as well. But yeah, both of our pages have definitely gotten a lot of engagement over the past few months, and Zach especially, he's doing a really good job of that, and so forth. So
you're doing the right thing on your side, though. So look, let's just talk about me dropping the ball this whole episode, basically. So basically what Jay's doing is we had this idea both to storytell going into it, right? So you guys know I talked about in the last episode, I fired my intern. He was going to basically do my storytelling for me, capturing me, the videos for me, then me post them out there. Now, I still could be doing them myself, don't get me wrong, but it's that now here's another thing when you're being, you're going your entrepreneurial role and how social media platforms will pull you, we're going to talk about more social media, how they can almost run you dry. You got to be a hustler. You got to be good at them. Should you apply all your efforts to one, or should you apply all your efforts to this business? What are you going to do? To where right now I'm involved in a couple of different startups. Obviously, I said Max Up for Muscle and my website, so I'm not able to apply much time towards my social media like that storytelling that Jay's doing, which he's capitalized on his building his following. So I still think I'm doing well. Like my following, I picked up over 100 followers. I'm averaging almost 100 followers a week, so it's growing. Like it's not 50 to 100 a week. So it's not like it's not growing. In my Snapchat engagement, I did Q&A yesterday. I answered a couple hundred questions. So it's not that it's not growing. My engagement's not there. It's just that I'm not running on 150%.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing that I'm not running 150%. And I know once I am able to, once I'm able to get my website squared away, Max Ever Muscle squared away, then I'll be back on, the 100% train on my social media. But Jay's doing exactly what he has to do going into this shoot, building the hype every day. I check how many days we got towards Muscle Beach because Jay puts it up every single morning. So not only is he telling the truth, I look up every day, wonder what Jay did today going into Muscle Beach. What's he working on? Because I know some of the things when Jay was around, we talked about some of our strong, weak areas. Is Jay capitalizing on his, his weak areas? Is he crushing those rear delts? What's Jay doing today? So I'm following along his story just as much as what he's talking about. So it makes a lot of sense. And you would be surprised the amount of people who actually do want to follow along and do want to be a part of the process. It's just really cool. It's almost like building that community, like team win the day, my team and stuff. It's more than just me. It's like those guys interact with each other all the time. Like, dude, what kind of programming are you doing this month? And what Zach have you doing this month? And dude, this was crazy. Did you do floor press yet? So it's building that community and, building that around you. And if you're trying to get into the role where me and Jay are, trying to get in this position to be like, quote unquote, the trainer, the master trainer, it's just getting in the community. So being a part of the community, being a part of the team win the day or being a part of this thing Jay going on right now, leading into the shoot, you you start to become a part of this community. You see what people like, what people don't like, this, that, and third, and then you capitalize on it.
Yeah, man. People love to follow it. And that was what I realized after my last shoot. I did a pretty decent job of documenting my last shoot and the prep and everything leading up to it. And I would get people hitting me up saying, hey, I'm loving following along. I'm looking forward to the shoot. And I just couldn't believe it. Because that was relatively soon after I started actually building my brand on social and going all in on my fitness stuff. And one of my clients, Abe, I know he listens to the show. Shout out to Abe.
What up, Abe?
He owns a veterinary clinic, and he said a lot of his nurses there and stuff, they were all following along and asking him how close I was to the shoot and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of crazy to hear. So people definitely want to follow along, and they want to hear what's going on and what's the latest and what are you working on right now and what stage you at, how far out are you, and so forth. So if you do a good job with that, it's going to grow your following. Moving on. So the past week, let's wrap this up. So my house is moving along. I don't know if I ever talked about the reason behind the house, but it's strictly an investment property. With new build houses, and I think that's with existing as well, if you wait 2 years after you move in or after it's done and it's completed construction-wise, you get taxed 0% on your profits. If I were to sell it right now, the market's really hot.
Just revamp that.
Yeah.
That's such a bomb for people, especially our age, buying homes, to just read to say everything you just said. Really take this in for a second, guys, because I didn't know this. This is huge. I wish I would have noticed because I've had my house for quite a few years now, but this is huge. So re-say that.
Yeah, so there's something called capital gains tax. It's 25, I think it's 29% on your profits when you sell a house if you don't wait the whole 2 years. And again, I think it applies to pre-existing, but it definitely applies to new builds. So again, the house will be done in about 6 weeks. So exactly 2 years after I sign off on that first mortgage payment, I can sell it and my profits aren't taxed at all. So it goes from 29% to 0%. Yeah, that's a huge fucking, I plan on making a lot of money because one, my dad's building it, so I'm going to get a nice built-in profit from the builder, not really marketing it up much. I hope not, at least. And then the 0% tax is going to be huge. So again, so the reason behind it is completely an investment. So I have 2 roommates already lined up, which will pretty much cover my mortgage. I'll have to pay $100 bucks a month. So I won't be paying much for a brand new house. And then after 2 years, I'll turn around and sell it. So strictly an investment property. And then I kind of have a 2-year plan to where after I sell it, I might move out to Southern Cali, plan on my online business being pretty big. Then again, reverse engineering, I knew I wanted to travel, so I started building an online business, real estate investments, all about reverse engineering. So the house is moving along well. They just put the garage doors on, which is kind of I haven't been over there. I'm gonna go over after the podcast and check it out. The drywall is done, and I talked about this I think last show. Is like it wasn't real until I walked in and the drywall was up, because before that it's just the studs and you can see through the whole house and stuff and so forth. So when I went in and the drywall was in, it kind of got real, and I kind of just stood there for a second and just kind of soaked it all in, like, oh shit, this is actually about to be real. Like, this is my house. You know what I mean? Because you could see, you kind of envision what it's going to look like now.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Just how you're going about the process and how you're looking at it. You're doing this basically everything an entrepreneur should do. Like, you're like literally like the epitome of it. You're getting roommates. You know, the roommates will help pay for the bills. So you're going to cut your costs there. And then in 2 years, you're going to sell it, make money, and you're going to have all this capital to basically use for whatever you want to use it for, to move. Who knows where you're going to be at in your life in 2 years, but you could have, who knows, between 20 and 80,000. Who knows what you're going to make? I don't know.
I mean, it should make about 60 to 80,000 cash money.
There you go. It's 60 to 80 grand you're just holding on to. You didn't get that tax at 29%. Mm-hmm. That's obviously going to, it could have been 40, now it's 60, 70, whatever it is. So now you have this money to apply, invest it wherever you want, or to travel the world, whatever you want to do. Like, maybe you're at the point in your life like, hey, I kind of feel like I'm studded out. I'm not learning no more. I just need to travel. Mm-hmm. You have 30 grand or 70 grand to fucking travel for a year, like, and you would gather those life experiences, and you can come back and murder the game.
Exactly.
So many different things, having that freedom, not being tied down. So I dig the way you're investing into a house, because I don't really believe people should buy a house unless they're doing what you're doing right now. Grant Cardone, I believe, was talking about this the other day, is if you get a house, it ties you down. It's not the true American dream. Like, that's what people thought it was. But if you're an entrepreneur, it's just going to weigh you down. But the way you're going about it is like one of the smartest ideas I've ever heard of. Like,
well, my dad used to do it. And honestly, the idea kind of just popped into my head one night about a year and a half ago. Like, it was weird. Like, I hadn't been thinking about it really at all. And all of a sudden I was sitting down one night with some homies, and like all of a sudden it popped into my head, like just one of those ideas. And if you're a very creative person, you'll have moments where you'll have moments where shit just pops into your head. And from that point on, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna start talking to my dad about this and see if it's a legit possibility. And he's like, yeah, let's go find a lot. So I went out, bought a lot, and then the whole muscle farm thing, the whole muscle farm ordeal kind of set me back about a year, but now I'm finally making it happen. But so I'm excited about that. I'm picking out my wood floors and stuff. So it's actually becoming very real. This past week, the Carb Life shirts, they finally went through. I had to wait on that art design to be accepted. And so I got that accepted, and they said about a week out now. So I should have the shirts next week. I'm doing pre-order right now. I think they're going to go really quick. I've already sold about 15 of the shirts. So again, if you want dibs on a shirt, because again, I think they're going to go pretty quick, go onto the site and pre-order. The link is in my Instagram bio. I have medium, large, and XL sizes right now. As I get my investment back, I'll start investing again, as we talked about before, more into the company, getting all the different sizes, having different designs. So this is basically, once I pay back that initial investment and have that back in the bank, I can start feeding more and more into it. So there'll be more sizes, but long story short, if you want to get your shirt pre-ordered, go on to my Instagram, click the link in my bio, go on there, and I'll have the shirts within a week, and I'll ship them out ASAP. So you should have them within 2-3 weeks to be safe, but I hope to have them out in 2 weeks to your doorstep. I had a new business idea recently pop into my head. Peter, shout out to Peter. We might go into business soon, doing online sales. There's a lot of people out there making a lot of money right now, basically buying stuff at yard sales or even different types of stores, finding the right deals, and then turn around and flipping them on eBay and Amazon. And he's been doing this for a while, just kind of on the side. And I was like, bro, I mean, I'm willing to go full in on this. Because I have some free time with my businesses and stuff right now that allow me to expand and start to look into doing other businesses as well, on top of the fitness, the apparel, and everything. So we talked a little bit. We're going to meet up for lunch here soon and kind of discuss going all in on that. And so that's a whole other stream of income and business opportunity.
I don't know how long Peter's been doing it. He was actually just in town the other day. I should have asked him. But I remember this question on a podcast. He talked about spending a lot of money, and I said you need to find a second form of income. So I don't know if that's what sparked it.
It was, I think, dude. I think he was doing it in the past, and then he kind of fell off on it, and then you said that, and I think that was what really sparked the fire again for him to go on, which that was only like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he's already started going real
Yeah,
deep into it. So
yeah. When I was talking to him the other day, he was telling me some deals he was doing like with ties and shit. I think like 11 or
yeah,
$12 margin off a tie. I was like, dude, I'll buy 50 ties. He's very Peter's a smart kid. He's a
yeah.
smart guy, so he's definitely capitalized on it. He knows, he knows the market too. Like he knows a lot about
Mhm.
a lot of different things, and he's like he flipped a car before. Like he's just doing some cool shit. So
Exactly. Yeah. So we both bring different things to the table. So we're both hype about it. I was texting this morning. We're gonna again sit down for a business lunch. I think we would work really well together, and we'll kind of sit down and write out the details and see if that's what we want to do. But I think there's a lot of opportunities there and a lot of money to be made. So it's another whole other stream of income in a business that could come to fruition here in the
I
next
like it.
few
I
weeks.
love it.
Always hustling. And then the last thing on this past week was my diet changes. So as we approach the shoot, we're 3 weeks out right now, 21 days. My weight hasn't been dropping quite as much as I had wanted to. And also with some of the things I discovered with my blood work, I've kind of changed my diet up a little bit and taken out some carbs. So
No more carb life. Oh my gosh. I the whole podcast just cried a little bit. They're like, oh man.
one idea I had was I might still make the Carb Life meals, have one of my roommates eat them for me, and then do a review. One way or
Dude,
another,
that's like some crazy discipline, man, not
yeah.
to eat the carb life.
Yeah, so I still need to have the Instagram post because that is that has single handedly driven the traffic to the shirts. So I definitely need to continue to have crazy food things on Instagram. But if I could find somebody to eat them for me, or me to eat them maybe once a week, I think that would be where it's at. So I got to get creative and figure out how I'm going to do it without wasting a ton of food. Because again, that's what pushes business to my Carb Life shirts. If I had not started doing those reviews, there wouldn't be nearly as much hype around my shirt release right now. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
I don't think I would sell any of them. So I need that still to drive traffic to the shirts and so forth. So yes, the diet's changed up a little bit. I cut carbs out of my daily meals for the most part. I'm still getting carbs from veggies and so forth, but a lot of the fruit and stuff I was doing is pretty much cut out the last few days to try to experiment and see if it helps with how I've been feeling, and also to see if it helps me lean out quicker too. And also today, again, since we're 3 weeks out, I started animal cuts, which a lot of people ask me about which fat burners they should do and so forth. And I've always had a lot of really good results with the animal cuts. Once Corey's stuff is out, I'll definitely be using that. I've heard a lot of really good things about the formulation and so forth and the results that he's been having with it. But right now, since they're not out, animal cuts are the way to go for me. They've always worked really well. So that starts today, and I'll take that all the way up to the shoot. And those really help with your energy because they have a lot of caffeine in them, but they also really help start dropping the fat. And then the final week, they have some diuretics in them too, so they help with the water cut too. So a lot of benefits to the animal cuts. And again, last week was really good. There's always ups and downs, but overall, I had a pretty damn good week.
Good, man. So with the animal cuts, since there's already a little bit of diuretics in it, are you drinking a little bit extra water right now?
Right now, I really honestly don't worry about my water too much until the final week. I try to get at least a gallon and a half every day just on a normal basis. But like my sodium levels and all that kind of stuff, I don't fuck with until the final week. I take in a lot of sodium right now. So that's kind of why my weight's, I think, higher than I want it to be, just because the water weight fluctuates up and down. But again, I really don't worry about how much sodium I'm taking until that final week. And then I kind of cut it out completely. And it seems to just dry me out real quick. I'll drop anywhere from 6 to 8 to 10 pounds the final week, mostly water. And I mean,
Nice,
it's not just one day either. It's throughout the week, and I kind of do it strategically, and then I look way drier by the end of the week. So there's a whole strategy behind it.
Sorry, tighten it up. I dig it. All right, man, let's jump into some social media topics. This is covering the platforms, how you use your platforms, and what you suggest for other people to use them. Maybe if they're in the fitness industry, or maybe if they're looking for, now you have the apparel line, how you're going about your apparel line. So let's talk about each platform and how you plan on using it. So let's just jump right into
Go Facebook first.
Let's go Facebook.
All right, Facebook. So this is the least utilized platform for me. I think there's definitely money to be made on Facebook, and you can generate a following, but I think it's just more work to organically grow it. It seems like Facebook's mostly old people these days. Is that correct? I know personally I don't really use it that much.
Yeah, it's definitely the older crowd. I don't use it as much either, but I do use it strategically, so I'll talk about it when it's my turn.
Okay. Yeah, so I did start a business page for my fitness stuff. I started out using it pretty heavily, but I've kind of fallen off on that and put more focus on the other pages. But yeah, so I definitely think there's money to be made on Facebook. Like with the sponsored ads, you put money in and pay to have your posts get in front of other people. But for the most part, me personally, I haven't used it much. But I think with the apparel line, I might do some sponsored ads with that and so forth. We'll see. And I think as my other pages grow and they become a little bit more self-sufficient, and I don't have to put as much time into them, I think that'll be when I start to really hone in on Facebook. Because again, I think there is a ton of money to be made, and people have proven that. But just me personally, I don't really use it right now. What about you?
Yeah, so talking about the sponsor ad and stuff, that's what I'm actually using it for my gym. It's actually got me, I think, like 7 or 8 members.
Because you can dial in exactly where you want it to be geographically, right?
Yes, you can dial in area. So I said, the first time I did it within like 5 square miles of the gym, and there was like 80,000 or 140,000.
I do that with real estate, I guess. I didn't really talk about the real estate stuff, but I definitely use it for when I sell a house. I'll do a sponsored ad like, hey, I sold this house over market value, and I basically sponsor it to people that are friends of friends and also people within the area too. So go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll do it with I just do it with everybody who's in the area because I'm really not friends with friends. So I don't know a lot of people here in Indy.
Yeah, different
so
story.
I just do the area, and it's been rewarding. I've had like 5 or 6 people come in from the Facebook ads, and I think it costs, I can't even remember what it cost, but it wasn't very expensive. But it can pop up through people's time.
Yeah, like $5 or $10, you can get a lot of exposure.
Yeah, but it can pop. The more obviously, the more you pay, the more people see it, and the more it pops through their timelines. Obviously, the more times you see shit, you find to eventually click on it. How many times have you clicked on the Ty Lopez shit? Like, I just see this stuff.
He's everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
Dude's paying for something. He's killing it.
Hey, I'm here in my garage with my Lambo.
I'm in my garage with my Lambo in a sweet backyard. Dude's definitely killing it. So, Facebook ads. So, moving on to Facebook, I'll continue with Facebook. I actually have a content list, a structure list wrote out right now for my Zach Homol Power site, and just moving forward with all my social media platforms, how I plan on strategically using each of them. So for Facebook, what I plan on doing once I have my website out, knowing that I have a very loyal following, but it's not a huge following, I'm going to do a ton of marketing. I'm going to get this site out there because only 7,000 people on Instagram know Zach Homol, 2,000-ish, under 2,000 on Twitter. I have a decent Facebook following and a decent Snapchat following. But in the grand scheme of things, nobody knows who the fuck I am. So I need people to know my website's out there. They know, like, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm about. So I plan on being really strategic with my Facebook ads. So what I did is did a little bit of digging. I looked at the most healthiest states in America. So I have a list of everyone, the most healthiest states, right? Now in those states, I looked at the biggest population, like obviously like the capitals and different populations. So I plan on strategically putting my Facebook ads for my Zach Homol Power site. So I'll have like a motivational video telling what I'm about. I'll have like people basically leaving testimonies, like saying Zach did this, just all true shit. Like people are getting strong, people getting lean. This is what's happening. So I'm going to strategically place that in these healthier, bigger cities. And then I looked up the top biggest cities in America. So obviously I went through that, looked at all the top biggest cities, and I'm going to strategically put my Zach Homol Power ads in their Facebook feeds in that area. You can also do that with YouTube. So just jumping straight into YouTube, you can do the same thing where you can get in suggestion boxes. So that's another thing I'm going to be jumping into with my Zach Homol Power site. So when it comes to my gym, I'm just using Indianapolis. But when it comes to my website, I'm going to strategically put the ads in different places, help grow my following. Because I know once they come to my site, they're going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously going to lose people. It's the nature of the beast. But I know the content I'm providing, people are like, this is fucking well worth it.
You just got to get them there.
I just need them to see me. I need the new customer. That's something to think about too, guys. The new customer. A lot of people are like, yeah, I have 10,000 people on Instagram. That's good. Like you should always be searching, how do I get the new customer? You already have that customer. You need the new customer. You need someone new. What can you do? How can you market yourself correctly to get that new customer to come to you and want to buy your stuff? You obviously have to be giving the good value to that customer too. So that's how I'm using my Facebook right now. Other than that, I use it for just family stuff. My actual page, it's just family stuff, family shit. Every once in a while I put a motivational quote on there or something, and people get a little bit of rouse out of it. A little bit about the clothing line, but not a crazy push as far as my own page giving a ton of content. I just don't have the following there. It's not like Instagram or Snapchat.
Yeah, I like that. I got some ideas from you just from the Facebook ads and stuff. That's a really good idea, especially for the website. Generating business through healthy cities and states and so forth. I like that a lot.
Hell yeah, man. How about YouTube? How are you using your YouTube right now?
Yeah, so I lately haven't been quite as active on it, more so just the actual form videos. So how my YouTube started out was what I built out was a whole form library for clients. So when I have new clients especially, I'll send them links besides some of the lifts, I don't think they'll know what they are, and most of the lifts in general. So basically, for the most part, every lift that I do is on my YouTube channel, and it's no talking.
Cool.
There's no talking or anything behind it. It's just simply me actually performing the exercise, just quick hitters. So that's how my YouTube started, and then I started expanding more into like how-to videos and so forth. So I have a couple of videos like how to do dumbbell pullovers correctly and kind of walk the viewers through each step. I have some ab videos, top ab movements, and how to, again, perform them correctly. Some stuff like that. My idea or my plan early next year is to get a full-time video guy, similar to what Zach's doing right now. Once I have some more free capital, is investing in a video guy, and I can really blow out my YouTube. My YouTube has grown pretty well without being too active on. I have a good amount of subscribers. Not, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I don't, but for what I put into it, I have a decent amount of YouTube subscribers and views. So I know once I actually have someone to do the video stuff for me and really help me out, then I can really continue to expand on growing that. One of my ideas is similar to what I've done with Snapchat, with putting the full workouts on Snapchat to drive traffic from Instagram and stuff. I'll start doing that with YouTube. When I have a video guy that can cut up full workouts and make it kind of catchy and eye-catching in general, then I'll basically have some full workouts live on YouTube to where I make a post on Snapchat and Instagram, say, hey, here's a look at today's workout. If you want the full workout, go to my YouTube page. And I think that'll really help me build up that YouTube page, because it's already proven it has helped build up my Snapchat substantially. And there's obviously demand for it because all those people are screenshotting it. And I get a lot of feedback from people saying, hey, I did the workout. It was awesome. So I know the demand's there. I just got to get somebody that can help me generate the videos and make them look a little bit decently professional. And that, I think that alone will really help me build it up and continuing to do like the how-to. I think the how-tos are really good when you spend 3 to 5 minutes or 10 minutes walking through a certain movement and all the little details on it. So that's kind of where I'm at with YouTube. And eventually, once things really pop off, I think the sponsored ads and stuff on YouTube are really key. I think that the ROI, I think, is definitely there on putting some money into ads and getting some exposure to YouTube. And then if you have the quality content, it's going to blow up. People are going to want to follow you and subscribe and watch your shit.
Yeah, like the storytelling too on YouTube is just like
and to end that real quick, I think the best way, like organically right now, is just to drive traffic from the Snapchat and the Instagram and the Twitter to your YouTube page. So if you already have a following on Instagram or a decent following on Instagram and Snapchat and so forth, then you could drive that traffic to your YouTube and so forth. So I got some ideas for it, but right now it's kind of laying low a little bit.
Yeah, it's same as me. Mine's laying low too. I'm trying to figure out how I want to use my YouTube. So I obviously push a lot of content already, but the majority of my content, like breaking down the list that you talked about, like Jay's discussed too on the podcast, that I'm real strategic on how I break everything down. I've really learned the human body and know how things work. So I know my value as far as that, but I want to become, a master trainer with my online website and basically give that to my members of my site. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to use my YouTube page correctly. So I'm thinking there's a few different things I enjoy doing in life, and obviously my number one passion is enhancing the world. And I have a little bit of a knack of motivational speaking.
Just a little bit. I'd say you're pretty fucking good at that.
And I'm getting better, every time I do it, and every time I talk, I feel like I get better and better and better. And that's how I think I'm gonna use my YouTube as that. I'm gonna kind of build a storyline out of my life almost, and kind of just portray it on YouTube as a story.
Kind of like Greg Plitt. Greg Plitt used to. A lot of his following was just from his motivational shit.
Just from his motivational speaking. Yeah, Greg Plitt, one of the most, hundreds of covers. This guy was a total freak show. Everyone.
Not to mention his subscription-based website was doing like $120,000 a month.
Yeah, so like $1 million business online. So it's just crazy. It was like $100 a month or something. Wasn't it super expensive? I can't remember.
I think it might have been the standard $9 a month. He just had so many people.
Okay, for some reason, someone told me. I don't know. I thought it was more expensive, but rather, anyway, he did a very good job. That's what he did. Get your ass off the couch. He kind of hit that demographic of people who were like New Year's resolution people, which is really cool. And I feel like I can connect to those people too. But I really can understand like the high school kids going into college and the college kids. Maybe because I'm still close to that age, but I just get everything you're going through. Like I get the party and I get the peer pressure because I basically went through all of it. So that's my crowd, and that's the reason why my site's only $9 a month. So those kids, those guys can afford it. So that's how I'm going to use my YouTube moving forward. The paid ads and stuff, that's definitely a thing to think about, in the future. But right now, I just don't have a big enough following on YouTube to even think about any type of paid ads. I'd want to build up, all the content on my YouTube page where I'm actually having thousands of subscribers. Then I would decide maybe a little bit of paid ads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too. There's so many different ways to monetize your YouTube page. And I think YouTube, we've talked about this before, it's one of those platforms that it's not going to go away towards the wayside. Like Instagram will eventually die off. Twitter will eventually die off. YouTube is likely always going to be there for the most part.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be ups and downs with different social media platforms, but with the YouTube, I think it's going to be pretty consistent.
So it's like the Twitter, for instance. I'm already seeing a couple of weeks ago I was talking about how high my engagement was on Twitter, and it's still okay. But 99% of my engagement right now is on Snapchat. Like my Snapchat is just it's crushing it. Like the depth I have in my Snapchat is it's crazy.
That's why it's
How
so
many people I talk
important.
to.
That's why it's so important to filter off
Yeah.
if you have a big following on Instagram, it's important to filter it off to other sources just in case Instagram dies off. You still got, you know what I mean? That's really big. Key.
Yeah, don't be romantic about any site. Some people get real romantic, like, oh, I have this many followers, I'm just gonna put all like, quit being so romantic about it. At the end of the day, it's not yours. You know, at the end of the day, it's like that's like their arm. They can't let it go. Like they got to stay attached. Like guys, let it go. Keep filtering out, like Jay says. It's a tunnel. You know, it's like a shower effect. Let it go down in your different social media platforms and just keep on trying to grow. Keep your ears and keep your eyes out for the next platform that's starting to arise. Like right now, if you're not on Snapchat, or not promoting or not marketing on Snapchat and you have a business, you probably should start like yesterday. It's
Agreed.
Like I'm proving it day in and day out. Jay's proving it day in and day out. Interaction's huge. Talking to people. I mean, just for instance, this yesterday, dude, I was answering all these questions and people are talking, hey, the podcast is, the FireCast is killing it. The FireCast, it's killing it. And, you guys are doing awesome. So it's just really cool to see that it's true. Like everything I'm saying, I'm getting the feedback from people. So it's cool.
Yeah, so let's move right into Snapchat then with since we're already on the topic. My Snapchat, again, I just got active with it. I know Zach's been on top of it for a while now. He was early on in Snapchat, and he really thrives with that motivational speaking and just that Snapchat type of content. So he's always done really well on that. Just recently, I started to get more into the Snapchat just a few months ago, and something I heard Gary Vee say recently has really helped me with my Snapchat. He said, don't try to create, just document. Just document what you're already doing. So that's really what I've made an effort of posting when I get up in the morning. Like basically it says what time it is, and then maybe how many days out I am to generate some hype for Muscle Beach. And then when I get to the gym, I'll post basically what I'm doing that day. I'll post usually I post a picture of the old school sign, and I'll say it's leg day or whatever. And then in the gym, I'll post a few clips of what I'm doing. If I'm giving away a full workout that day, I'll most likely record pretty much all the different movements so everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. So in the gym, I'm recording at least a couple of videos a day, even if I'm not giving out the full workout. Once I leave, maybe I'll post a couple of selfie videos, just me talking. If I have something strike me and something I want to rant about, I'll go into that. And then usually I'll post like a picture of one of my meals during the day, kind of what I'm doing throughout the day. If I'm doing nightly abs, I usually post a picture of that. So I just really document instead of trying to create with the Snapchat. I really honed in on that and focused a lot more on just documenting what my day looks like and so forth. And it seems to really be working. I mean, my views continue to grow as I filter more Instagram off into Snapchat. And I love Snapchat so much, not only because it's very intimate and it's easy to answer questions and get back to people really quickly, but also because it's a really good platform to sell your product. For example, with the shirts, I mean, you can make a post pretty much anytime during the day saying, hey, my pre-order is out now. Go and hit it up if you want to get a shirt. Whereas with Instagram, you have to be very strategic and you can't post shit at any time during the day and just blast people out all the time on there. You have to be very strategic with it. With Snapchat, you can kind of blast out shit over and over again and anytime during the day, and people are going to see it because they'll go to your story and they're going to watch all the way through. If they're loyal and they like your content, they're basically always going to make sure they check out your stuff. So even if you
post
it
moves up to the top, when you post something, it moves to the top of the list.
That's another key.
So every time you post, you move to the top. So it's still, like you said, out there, but I'm still somewhat strategic on, I know if I post at 4, although at 4 in the morning, we have fucking all my followers, everyone's posting like when they wake up now at 4 o'clock, whatever. So it's cool. Yeah. But it's just like being real strategic on when to post, because so when people start pop to the top of their list, and how often to do it to get to the top of the list.
Yeah, that's key, and that's what we talked about a few weeks ago when Zach came into town. Was every time you post something new, you move to the top of the list. So that's why it's key. I think there's like a sweet spot between like 7 to 30 snaps per day is what most people say. I think it's what Gary Vee said, 7 to 30 a day. But not just posting them all at once, but periodically throughout the day posting them, because every time you post them, you move to the top of that list, and people are more likely to click on your name and go through your whole story. So there's a whole strategy behind how many you post and what time you post during the day. But from a business standpoint, go ahead.
And here's the thing, that's a 7 and 30. If you guys can only give 7 good snaps a day, don't fucking give me 30.
Yeah.
If I'm going about my day and I'm having a boring day, I'm just doing office work, I'm not gonna send you 30 pictures of me sitting there doing office work. Mm-hmm. on my Snap story. So make sure that you're providing quality content or telling a cool story about your day. Like if you're going whitewater rafting that day and you're like showing the experience, like I'd follow that. I'd follow along like, hey, dude, this is sick, dude. Let me check it. I wonder what's going to happen next. It's like almost like a reality show, right?
But that's the key. You want it to be some sort of reality show almost.
If you're just saying something stupid, I just don't. I'm not going to watch it. And I don't think your audience is going to care to watch either. Another thing is we're bringing Snapchat. Like if you're talking, like I follow some people on Snapchat, and when they talk, you tell it's not their platform. So know your platform, basically. If you're better at writing, write. If you're on Snapchat and you're just like being super like mellow and down, like I'm not. I know I myself not going to watch you, but how is anyone else going? How are they going to get aroused out of what you're doing?
You got to be very self-aware, right?
You got to be self-aware, and at the end of the day, you're not going to watch a show if it's boring. Like that's why we don't watch the fucking news. But the news attracts people because it's like, boom, this happened and this is crazy, right? The news is not like, well, today the weather's 5 degrees out. You know what I mean? They're like, oh my God, there's a tornado. So think about that on your Snapchat.
That's kind of something. That's what I want to talk about because I've never really been, and I've talked about this before. I used to have like really bad social anxiety. I never really want to be on camera, so I'm still working on improving on the camera. So I know that's not one of my strengths right now. So my main focus isn't really on doing that type of video stuff. Like a lot of, if you follow my Snapchat, you'll basically notice that it's not just me doing selfie talking a lot of the time. I do that from time to time if I have something I want to talk about or something funny. But for the most part, mine's more so like someone recording my workout stuff, me taking pictures of my food and keeping everyone updated like that. So I know that's not one of my strengths really right now. So I don't focus in on that as much as for you, for example. I know you do a lot of talking because you're really good on camera and you can really get your thoughts out into words and really inspire people. And that's something I'm working on. But I know right now that's not really where I'm at. So I focus on all my strengths from a social media.
Capitalize on your strength.
And that's why Instagram's so good for me. That's by far my favorite platform and the one I most excel on is because it's less about like actually talking to the camera and more so about like the type of content that you come out with. Like for me, for example, I'm really good at staying consistent and stuff. So I'm pretty much every day posting something for my workouts, giving out supersets, full workouts. That's why I really excel on Instagram because I know that's my strength is the consistency and having good content, but not necessarily being on camera talking all the time. So I don't really do that as often as I do just like actual, like here's what I'm doing, here's some superset stuff. So that's
super cool for you guys to see because I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Snapchat because that's the new platform, in 18, 19, 20 months. That's where the traffic's going to be. It's all the traffic will be there. I think Instagram will still be around, but the Snapchat, and there's going to be a different platform coming up, kind of like a Snapchat is right now. But putting all your efforts into it, you don't have to be the best on camera, but you just got to capitalize on what you're best at for that platform. And Jay knows that. He's self-aware. He's not saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to try to be like Zach or I'm going to try to be like Eric Thomas or Corey or whoever. He's just like, I'm going to be Jay Azeltine and I'm going to fucking kill it. Because
if you're real, dude, people are going to notice that you're real and they're going to want to follow that. So the biggest thing is not trying to fake and try to be someone you're not and try to do some shit that you're not very good at. That's the key.
Be you, man. Be real. People are going to, as long as you're authentic. Corey just sent me a picture of the pre-workout. It looks sick.
I love it.
Pumped. Yeah, so just be you, man. At the end of the day, you can't be no one else. And if you are, it's going to get exposed. It's kind of like the Shreds athletes, that shit that went down with them. Fucking faking, everyone uses filters and shit, but for like you can't add 4 inches to your body. Shit, bro.
Damn it.
That's just kind of like ridiculous. The fakes get exposed. At the end of the day, the fakes get exposed. If you say you're really there to help people, and I remember I read some shit like $500 for a conference call or something, or a Skype session. Like that's just ridiculous. But I understand in the same sense. I remember when I couldn't get a text message all day, right? Now I always have 30, 40 text messages sitting in my freaking text folder. You know what I mean? And so I know I get more busy and I have more people reaching out to me and on different platforms and more questions to answer. And it only grows. I'm sure they have a ton, right? And I get that. But what's important to remember as you're growing as an individual and you're growing your company, that those customers are what's helping you grow. So you have to get back to them. Do I think you need to call them? Like I won't do a 20-minute Skype call. Like I just don't have, sorry, guy, on time. Like I do with my clients who are paying me, yes, for the programming and stuff, but that just rolls over into that. But if a random person just wants to say, hey, man, what's it cost for a Skype call? You know what I say? Show up at my gym. I'll give you 2 hours. You show up at my gym. I'm training at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. You show up there. I'll give you 2 hours of my time to train. I'm going to see, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to beat them the fuck down. If they rise to the occasion, I'll give them all my time. If they don't, I'm leaving. I'm done.
I love it.
So that's it, man. Snapchat, I think definitely think about where you're at as an individual. Are you good at camera? You're not good on camera. Are you really good at programming? Start putting workouts out there. That's how I got my online training to start.
Mm-hmm.
I did it. Remember I talked about this on my podcast before. I did like 8 months where I just posted my video. It might have been longer, a year. Who knows? I posted my workouts every single day on my Snapchat, residually every single day, which I said I'm going to now, but I've been a little bit slack on that a little bit. So I posted them every single day on there. Just wrote them on paper. I didn't even type them out or anything. I just wrote them on paper. People got excited about it. I pulled it away. Then I got all that crowd to come to my online training. So
yeah, I think the biggest key out of that is like one thing is Snapchat's really hard to go organically. There's no really discover page or anything like that. So you got to really work on building up your other platforms and then funneling that off, like I talked about, into your Snapchat. Again, it's really hard to organically grow that Snapchat page. So you got to kind of focus on your Instagram. I would say mainly Twitter. Again, it's up and down. I would say Instagram really is where it's at right now. So focusing on building that Instagram, and then making sure you're consistently making posts about your Snapchat to drive that traffic to that page. And then that's where the good content on Snapchat comes into play. So there's a lot of levels to the hustle of the different pages.
Snapchat's definitely a hard platform to grow, man.
Yeah.
That's the hardest platform to grow. We found a way, Jay and I, to kind of share each other's stuff on how we can grow it, but that's not, going to grow thousands and thousands of followers. It takes too long. So I think Snapchat needs to go ahead and pick something up there where they have a discover page, where possibly you click on something you go to, and there's a cool discovery page where you can find cool people on Snapchat.
For sure. So let's move into Instagram, Zach. What kind of strategy do you basically employ on your Instagram?
So Instagram, man, it all started out as I was posting when I first started posting on Instagram. This is when Instagram was still kind of fresh and new. I just dude, I'm gonna put my videos on here from me lifting, like fucking whatever I was doing, deadlifting 500 at the time or something. So I put it on there. No one liked it. 1 or 2 likes. Like, why it's stupid? Why you post videos of lifting on there? And
I think that before you go ahead, I think that's a really big thing that stops people from trying to build their brand is that most of their following at the current moment is friends and family, and they're like, I don't want to blow these people out with a bunch of fitness stuff. And that was where I was at. I think that was one of the reasons why I was kind of reluctant to begin actually blasting out fitness content, was because most of my following was just friends and family. And I was like, man, how are they going to react and so forth? You just got to overcome that. And eventually it'll be just like second nature. But go ahead.
Yeah, I had that same issue, man. People were like, it's just, they told me I was stupid, this, that, and third. And then I almost got like, what do you think? People looked at me like, what are you? You're being cocky because you deadlifted 500. Now you got to tell everybody. And I'm just like, I didn't see it that way. I was like, I'm just posting like it's almost like a log for me. In a sense, I was keeping log, and I thought I liked it. Like I liked showing people what I did. It's not that I need a data boy, but it's like, hey, I did this. You can do this kind of thing. Try to almost like inspire other people to go ahead and jump into the whole entire fitness realm of things. But I didn't have the following there, so that's how it all started. And then now I continue. I post videos. I see what people like more. It's crazy. People like the arm workouts and shit more.
They love some arm workouts, bro.
That's Jay's specialty. I'm not the arm workout guy. But I just continue. I have no real strategy right now. I'm just posting basically what I do. I like to post. I keep it more so now than ever. It's strictly quote unquote business marketing. Very little family stuff. I posted a picture today. Ashley's son, Crew, my little buddy. It's his birthday, so I do family stuff every once in a while. Just to let people know, like, I am a real person. I do have this other life, and but I'm not portraying something I'm not on Instagram. Like, I eat, sleep, drink, breathe, lifting. Like, this is my entire life. It's all I talk about all day long is lifting weights, getting stronger, making people better. So it truly is my life. That's all I post about is lifting weights for the most part. But I like to post in the morning. Obviously post times are huge. I'm getting more likes from the mornings and more views from posting, I think, at 4 o'clock, because the first thing you do when you roll over is what? Roll over and look at your phone. So if you see first thing in the morning, oh shit, like you see, you like it, and you move on, you're still laying in bed. I think I'm getting more than just the afternoon, because in the afternoon, I think people are still liking it, but I don't know how much time they're spending watching it, because I know I'm just watching a lot of people just go like with their thumb, scrolling through, liking, because everyone's posting around, everyone's picking up on 7 o'clock is the post time, right? 6, 7, 8 at night. People know that's when you post. So more people are posting that time to get more likes, get more, recognition. And sometimes it's just fucking like pictures with their shirts off or girl booty pictures, So It's like they're blowing up these feeds with no content, just basically just a picture, just to get likes. So it's like now that if you're in the realm that we are in, trying to impact people and trying to grow our page, how do we actually get out there where people actually following us and watching our stuff? So I'm getting a little bit more strategic in a way about my times, but the content I bring, it's who knows. I'll wake up in the morning, it's whatever. whatever I bring. I'm not like, I'm going to do a picture this time and a video this time. I'm not doing that right now. My following's still growing. As long as I'm interacting there and I'm providing good content, I don't have 100% structure. How about you?
So I just got a client picture, a transformation. Some guy I worked with for like 4 weeks, and he lost a good amount of weight. And this is the first time I've seen a transformation. Fucking epic, dude! Like that's the best feeling is when you get to see the actual progress that you made and see how much it changed someone. It's pretty cool to see. So I'll probably put that up on Instagram later. But all right, so Instagram though, I would say the biggest thing for me is consistency, and that's what I'm really good at is staying consistent. So for me, it's like every single morning. Maybe like on Sundays, I don't usually post in the mornings. But for the most part, almost every single day, I'm posting something in the morning. And usually at night as well for the most part, especially when I'm doing the carb life or something like that. So consistency is huge for me. I try not to ever miss. And I know that's one of my strengths, so I really focus in on that. Post times is key too. Definitely in the morning. I used to post a lot of my fitness stuff in the evening, and I started moving it to the morning right after my workout. And that seems to really gets a lot of traffic. And again, I think it's because the people on the West Coast, it's like 4 a.m. when I post it, because I usually post my stuff at about 7 Eastern time. So a lot of people on the West Coast that follow me, they are seeing it like as soon as they wake up. They're part of the 5 a.m. Crew. And then people on the East Coast, they're finishing up their workout. So I hit a lot of different people. And then in the evening, again, I'll usually try to post between like 7 and 9, depending if I have any quality content. If I don't have anything quality to put out, I'm not going to post anything just to post it. Instagram-wise, though, another thing that I really have been doing lately is just posting either like a form tip, basically breaking down. I did lat pull downs. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago. I broke down pretty much 4 different things that I see people do incorrectly and how to really get the most out of the lift. And then I post full workouts from time to time as well. And again, lately I've been posting like a brief glimpse of the workout and then saying go to Snapchat just to really filter off a lot of people to Snapchat. But yeah, sometimes I'll post full workouts on Instagram. I'll do supersets like, hey, try this superset today. I did hamstring curls and leg extensions with quarter rep method. And it was basically just a part of my leg workout. I didn't post the full thing. It was just, hey, try this superset. So there's definitely a point where you don't want to give out too much content. Like you said, we're at a point you need to monetize it, and that's how we make our living. But also there's a fine line if you have to still give out a ton of content to continue to build the brand, especially early on. So there's definitely a happy medium there with that. And again, the consistency and the post times has been really big for me, and just continuing to stay creative with it. It's like every morning I got to come up with something new. So it really keeps me on my toes. Like, what am I going to post this morning? So it really keeps the creative juices flowing. But I love Instagram. I know eventually it'll fall off, but it definitely plays a lot of my strengths to where I don't necessarily have to stand there and talk on camera the whole time. But yeah, so Instagram definitely drives most of my business, I would say right now, for my one-on-one
absolutely.
and my apparel too.
Yeah, same with me. Instagram's still my number one leader, I would say. Snapchat's starting to turn into it, even though my following's not as big. But just the way I am on Snapchat, I'm a little bit better on Snapchat. I feel like I am on Instagram. Instagram right now, I'm just scrolling through it and just looking at my Instagram. I'm like, what exactly am I doing with my Instagram? And it's almost essentially telling a story. You know, each week I'm telling the movements I did. I'm still giving the tips here and there. Reason I've kind of pulled back a little bit from the No Bitch Ass tips of the day is simply because I've just been doing so much recording with the website, getting that stuff going. So the tips are going to kind of filter into the website. That all the tips will lie on the website. So I might give like one tip a week, but I'm going to use my Instagram more as just like, portraying, showing what I'm doing in the gym, how I'm progressing, and then I'll maybe like a tip or two a week. So it'll get a little bit more strategic as my site comes out. My site, starts to blossom, because you can't give all your information away for free and then expect people to pay for it. So you really have to find that fine line for where I'm going to be at, what I'm going to do moving forward with my website.
Yep, key. So let's touch on Twitter real quick. You said it definitely has fallen off a little bit over the last few weeks. So go ahead and touch on Twitter for a second.
Yeah, I use Twitter just for anybody just interacting with people, ask people how their day's going, what's going on. I like to know, if people are up, down, what they ate, just kind of like got good ideas and stuff too. And that also gives me ideas to talk about for the podcast, ideas to talk about on my Snapchat. Just like, hey, my day's going good, or hey, I ate this, or get questions and stuff. So that's how I use my Twitter. My Twitter following has never been very big because I'm better at talking than I am at writing, I guess you could say. So I'm not really putting like a bunch of like motivational stuff on Twitter. It's just not enough characters for me to put as much as I want to say on Twitter. So basically I just use it for this Q&A. I help drive traffic over towards my Snapchat with my Twitter. I'll say, hey, check me out on Snapchat for Q&A, or open Q&A today.
Yeah. Twitter, I go through phases with Twitter. It's like sometimes I won't post for like a day or two unless someone tweets me and I respond to them. But sometimes I'll come up with some funny shit with some GIFs that I'll post on there, and people seem to like that. And sometimes when I'm jacked up on caffeine, I'll go and tweet like 10 things in a row. So my Twitter's kind of like all over the place. It's very up and down. But yeah, I'll definitely post some stuff to get some engagement, like see how everyone's doing and kind of get an update on how everyone's week's going, how the day is going, what kind of workout are you doing today, what are you eating, and so forth. And again, so I haven't really figured out a whole plan. I don't really know exactly what my plan is for Twitter. It's kind of sporadic.
Well, I feel like Twitter's fallen off the map anyways, man. They need to change some things up. So I think that's almost a dying platform.
Yeah.
I just don't, my engagement is just not there for my crowd, you know, and I think more and more people are saying that too. A lot of people are just like, because I was trying to push some engagement towards Twitter from Snapchat, from Instagram. People are like, I ain't got Twitter. I'm like, shit. So if they got Twitter, why am I trying to push the engagement there? Let me just stay where they're at.
For sure. I like Twitter just from a standpoint of like it's easy to respond. People just kind of like Snapchat, but again, Snapchat's kind of taking that over. But I like Twitter when you respond to people because if they have a question and you answer it, a lot of other people may have the same question and they see that in response, you know. So that's kind of a cool aspect of Twitter. But yeah,
that's cool.
So let's move on from Twitter and kind of just wrap up the social media. Let's go back to the whole monetizing thing. With people with big followings, they don't really capitalize on monetizing. But like, for example, a dude with a ton of followers in the fitness industry, there's so many different ways to monetize one-on-one training. I don't think a lot of people even know that exists. Like before I really got close with you, I didn't realize that there was so much money in one-on-one training. Like these people with 100,000 plus followers or even 20 to 100,000 with a decent engagement, like they could make so much money doing training.
Six figures overnight.
Easy.
You can make 100,000 if you have that many followers, and if your engagement's there, you can make some money. But usually, if people have that many followers and their engagement is there, they probably are. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think people know how to engage with people because they're not real. Because the pictures they're putting out, what they're showing, they're not real. Like they're real people, but they're not being real.
Yeah,
so that's why I think they have a hard time keeping that depth.
And a lot of the guys in the fitness industry are kind of like balloon heads. And a lot of them aren't the smartest people. They don't really know like a lot behind marketing. You know what I mean? Like you gotta have a really good business sense and a marketing sense and so forth. Like I think that's where Zach and I really strive. We obviously have the fitness knowledge and so forth, and we're sociable people, but we have a really good business sense and a marketing sense. And I think for me, at least, a lot of that came from working with Corey at Muscle Farm and working directly in social media and kind of seeing how he grew his following and actually running some of the Muscle Farm handles myself. I really learned a lot from that, and now I apply that to my own page because it is a business page at this point. It's also my personal page, but I kind of treat it as a business page too because that's my livelihood. So I apply a lot of the things I learned at Muscle Farm and a lot of things I did with the pages I ran there directly to my page now.
Absolutely. So Muscle Farm was a complete failure. It worked.
I learned some things. I definitely learned a couple things there for sure.
Oh yeah, so did I. I learned a little bit. You know, I obviously jumped into sales, but jumping back towards the platforms as we're talking about how to monetize them. So these guys who aren't going about, they're not, you know, saying, hey, do this or go here. It could be simply because they're not intelligent enough. A lot of guys are just straight up meatheads. But another thing is, when I grew up, I remember so many guys wouldn't even give me no knowledge. At the end of the day, a lot of people are just ego driven. They don't want to see people doing better than them. So they almost don't even want to give out the knowledge for other people to get better than them, essentially, right?
That's like 75% of fitness pages, right? It's just them shirtless. It's like, how do you have a fucking following? Why do people want to follow this?
Just because you have your shirt off and you look good. Like, I don't follow accounts like that. If you're not adding no value to me, I can't see following you. I just don't understand why, right?
Yeah, exactly. Unless you inspire me in some way. Yeah. Maybe your physique inspires me. But for the most part, it's like, I don't understand how you have you probably blew up off one video or something. And that's how you have such a large following. It's not going to, the long game, that following is not going to continue to stay with you.
And it's not going to make you no money. You know, how much money is it going to make at the end of the day? Like some of these guys just, I literally say you just got lucky. You just fell into a good.
Well, a lot of them have full-time jobs too because they don't know how to monetize it or people won't pay for it. They may have a big following and it's decent engagement on their shirtless pics, but they're working full-time jobs doing some bullshit they don't want to do. Whereas with us, we're both doing exactly what we want to do with much less following.
So yeah, so just think about that. You don't need the biggest following in the world. So let's just jump right into that question from Fit Fam. He asked this basically the same question we're asking right now. Do you have it pulled up? I'll pull it up real quick. He asks, he's looking to start an apparel line. Basically, the gist of it, he's looking to start an apparel line, but he doesn't have the following. Is it going to go on deaf ears? He's trying to build a clothing line like you and I have. Because he's able to do it even though he doesn't have the following. What do you say, Jay?
It obviously helps having the following. Like for me, for example, with my carb life stuff, like I mean, I'll make my initial investment back. I think within the first week, selling it to people that I've given so much value to. Obviously, the shirt's going to be great. It's going to be great quality, highest quality shirts. The design's sick. I put so much work into the shirts. But I think for the most part, people kind of feel like they want to give back to me because I've given so much to them. So for the most part, I'm going to sell a lot of these shirts to people that are fans and people part of the community. So it obviously helps. But like we talked about earlier, there's a lot of ways to get in front of people on social media through ads and so forth. So I think you can definitely go forth with it. I would be cautious of buying a ton of inventory to kind of play it by year. But yeah, there's definitely ways, if you have money to put into marketing stuff, there's ways to do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and so forth. And also even like Etsy. I know Etsy's one of those sites where people just sell homemade stuff, which I think I'm going to get more into with my shirts. There's so many different ways to really sell. And for me, for example, I don't want to just sell to people that already follow me, like we talked about earlier with your online stuff and your website. That's not my goal. I want to expand this into a legit business, and to do that, I need to expand outside of my following. So basically, I'm going to have to go onto sites like Etsy and do some ads and so forth and get creative with it to figure out how to drive more sales. And also another thing that Zach and I talked about for the show is using influencers for your apparel. And I know Gary Vee talks about this pretty heavily with regards to apparel is reaching out to people that have big followings, either food pages for me, for example, like those food porn pages, and also fitness people, because I can kind of touch on fitness people and people that love food. That's kind of the basis of it. I have a couple different groups I can market towards, but I reach out to influencers, quote unquote, on social media and see, hey, if I send you a shirt, will you post it? And if they say yes, and they actually do post, that's going to generate a lot of business. People that don't even actually follow me, and it's also going to help build my following too, because they're likely going to follow my page. So
Absolutely. Yeah, that the social media makes it easier because you can build the following and have the following to sell to, but there's been numerous
there's always a
clothing
way.
companies. Yeah, there's been numerous clothing companies that's, made millions of dollars by not even have social media. So it's definitely possible, but just know that the clothing line is just basically watered down. There's just so many people making apparel lines. There is margin in it, and you can make money in it, and it can be fast money, but at the end of the day, you have to basically be different. What can you offer that's different? If you don't have the following, you're just going to need like a niche where like everyone's going to enjoy. Like if you're Fit Family Forever or whatever your Instagram handle is, maybe try to use that. Like bring people in like a fit family. Maybe that'd be a cool idea for a shirt where you can kind of connect to a more broader amount of people. To where me on my side, I'm just pitching off of what I am, like my Iron Valley Barbell shirts. Jay's pitching his Carb Life. So that's going to get the initial crowd at the beginning, but now we have to capitalize moving forward. What's going to be really cool moving forward for the fitness industry, everyone who's involved to want to buy our shirts. Jay has a little bit better niche, the Carb Life. Everyone competing loves carbs because they don't get carbs. So for me on my side, I almost had to change it up a little bit. I had to come up with some cool designs because right now I'm just selling basically off of what I say, man, shit, win the day, the Iron Valley Barbell logo. So I'm doing well because I have the following. But if I didn't have that following, they'd be falling on deaf ears, kind of like in your situation you're talking about.
Yeah, and as our community grows, quote unquote, following. I know Zach and I, neither of us like calling it a following because you guys aren't followers. We're trying to help you guys become leaders.
Right.
So we don't like calling it followers. Just kind of like something that just comes out because a lot of people say that. But our community, as it grows, the people that we're able to market towards with our apparel is going to grow as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand, but definitely branching out is going to be huge for us as we continue to grow our brands and our apparel lines.
Yeah, and just enhancing the community, creating a bigger community for everybody.
Yeah,
that's,
man.
Like the more engagement, the more things you learn and stuff. I think another thing that's gone, like I read this thing the other day. Louis Simmons met with this Russian coach, and the Russian coach left. He's like, "There's just so much more I still don't know about." His name is Boris or something. He's a huge lifting coach and one of the best out there. Him and Louis Simmons, right? And there's still so much more I don't know about getting strong. And it's just like so many people nowadays feel like they know everything. Like I come in contact with people who feel like they know everything. And like I say all the time, if your coach acts like he knows everything, he's a fucking asshole. Like literally at the end of the day, it's like if anyone thinks they know everything and they're even under the age of 50 or 60 years old and haven't been in the game 40 or 50 years, they're an asshole. Just straight up, they're a total dickhead, and they're not going to be able to lead you to where you need to lead because everyone is different. You should always be learning as a coach, as an individual. You should always be progressing yourself. So definitely think about that too. Just I get a little rabbit hole, but just thinking about going that into coaching real quick. I just see it all the time. Where I have guys in my gym who act like they know everything about lifting. I'm like, dude, you've been doing this shit 2 years. You fucking think you know anything about lifting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's key. Definitely leaving your ego at the door. Basically, in all aspects of life, just always continuing to learn and just recognizing when you're around someone that you can benefit from.
Listen more, talk less.
Exactly. So, all right, let's move on to the no bitchlessness tip. I know Zach and I neither had a tip. Neither of us had a tip
of the show.
Neither of us had a tip going to the shows. It's kind of spontaneous on the ball. Zach, what do you got for me?
So we actually recorded this episode a day early because I'm going out of town next week. And on top of that, we've had like
Christmas came early.
Christmas came early. We had like 4 minor glitches through the show today.
We made it though.
Shit's been fucked up, but they can't stop the show, man. We're not letting them. So my no bitch has this tip of the show. I'm going to talk about box jumps. Why I believe you should be jumping on boxes. First thing, when you jump on a box and you come back down, don't jump back down. Too much jarring on the knees. Crawl yourself back down, jump back up again. So say your max box height that you can jump onto is 50 inches, 52 inches. We want to go ahead and use about 80% of the 52 inches, whatever that is. I'm not good at math, probably like 40 some inches, right? The box jump for working sets of like 5 to 6 reps. So there's a couple different ways when you're box jumping. People they take off running, jump, they do a 1-step jump. I would like to see you guys being in still position, bending down, exploding up. This is going to create explosiveness on your squat. When the bar's on your back, as you're coming down, once you're honing it on your form, you're thinking, I got to drive this bar. I got to jump with the weight. So once you get those fast twitch muscles, once you get yourself honed in and learning how to explode by doing box jumps, you're going to be able to enhance your squat. So there's a fine line between speed and power. It's talked about all the time in boxing, angles, everything but boxing. But when it comes to lifting weights, there's guys who lift weights fast and slow. And usually the guys who lift weights fast are the strongest guys in the world. Now I'm talking there are grinders. You go through hard lifts. But at the end of the day, you see a lot of records being broken. And they're like, holy shit, that looked like it was an opener. How is that so fast? Because these guys built that explosiveness. So definitely keep on your box jumps. It's a movement that's very underutilized. Like I said, stand there and jump.
What about seated? Steps. What about seated box jumps?
Yes, I like those too. I'll throw those in my training too. Play every other week. So I do box jumps twice a week. Been getting a lot more on them now that I have my tires in my gym. The last gym I was at didn't have anything to jump on. So I will do seated. And when I do seated, I go from a very low, like 12-inch seat box. It's not a high. So it's a low box. And you're ready to force yourself up, and your inches are going to go down a little bit. You might be only jumping 30 inches if you have a 50-inch max out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, interesting. I'm going to start adding box jumps into my training. Damn.
Yeah, because you think when you go down like 5-6 inches and then you explode up, but when you are all the way down on that box, you have to create all that energy, you have to create so much more force off a 12-inch box if you're sitting on it, rocking back and driving yourself forward to get up on top of that 48-inch box. It's twice as hard. Because think about when you're jumping, you're not going down into a full squat than jumping, right? Yeah. Think how much that's going to help you get off that box or get out of the hole on your squat when you're going down there rocking back, leaving tension from the quads, and then firing up.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, I'm going to start adding that into my training because that's something I haven't done in a while. So that's kind of eye-opening for me. Cool.
Boom, on the fly, box jumps, jump on them.
I love it. All right.
Jay? What do you got? No bitch as his tip of the show.
All right, I hope this isn't something I've touched on before. If it is, call me out, please, because my memory's shit, so I don't remember. I know I've touched on abs a couple times, but I'm going to touch on the best ways to get your upper and mid abs. I think I touched on lower abs. I hope that was what I touched on. But either way, upper abs, though, the best way to really carve out those upper abs, one, weighted crunches. I know I talk about these all the time. Corey does them all the time. I like doing them at night. Have a 25-pound plate in my living room. Just knock out like 100 to 200 reps. Really good form, quality form over everything, always. So these are, I would say, best for the upper abs. If you really squeeze, if you're not feeling your upper abs get ultra tight, you're not doing them right. You're not squeezing hard enough, or the positioning leverages aren't right. So you need to make sure your upper abs feel like they're about to spasm out when you're doing these. So upper abs one, or weighted crunches one, ab wheels are another one. Those are, I would say, more so like upper and mid abs, not just the upper abs. But if you do, again, correct form on those and really stretch at the bottom and curl up at the top, I have a lot of form videos on those. I think I posted something on Instagram last week about a YouTube video I have about correct ab wheel form. So check my YouTube page out for that. So basically those two are huge keys. And then also from time to time, maybe 2 or 3 times a week in the gym, hitting weighted crunches, or not weighted crunches, cable crunches. Damn, this podcast got my brain fried. I can't think. Too many knowledge bombs in this show. The cable crunches are the third one though. So on the cable crunches, you're really getting a good stretch at the top, and then at the bottom, again, curling up and squeezing. That seems to be the
using the rope when you do those. Is that what you use? The rope?
Yeah, exactly. Yep, with the rope. And again, a lot of people don't stretch at the top. I would say that's one of the biggest things that people miss when I see people doing it at the gym is they don't get the stretch at the top, and that's part of the movement. That's the way with a lot of ab movements and movements in general, especially like back movements too. Is a nice stretch at the top of each movement, and then at the bottom is curling up or really squeezing the back or whatever it may be. But in regards to abs, you really want to squeeze and curl up at the bottom of the movement, and you'll feel it just blast those upper and mid abs if you're doing it right.
Dude, I see it all the time. People always forget about the eccentric movement. Everyone just wants to go and do a curl and just drop the weight back down.
Or pull-ups even, man. People go up on the pull-ups and they'll just let themselves fly down with no regard.
It's like if I'm saying do 100 reps and you're doing 100 reps out, you might as well just do 200 then.
Yeah, you're lacking half the movement.
You're missing half the movement, guys. If you're in the gym, you have an hour in the gym, you're going to make sure you get the most workout. Make sure you're really working on that eccentric movement, the way down. And as you're coming up, you're squeezing, you're staying tight. As you're going down, you're staying tight, you're still squeezing. Don't pull yourself up, get loose and come back down. As if you were benching, you're not going to come down your bench, let go of the bar, raise your arms up with the bar not in your hands, and go down and grab the bar again, then press it. So really make sure you're working on both sides of the movement. It's huge.
100. All right, let's wrap this biatch up. As always, if you are on iTunes, subscribe to the show so you stay updated every time one drops. It'll give you an alert. Give us a review if you haven't already. If you enjoy the show, a 5-star review. That'll help us move up the charts. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the page. Zach and I are still trying to make an emphasis to post more videos. We have a new video guy now, so I'll be heading out to Indy probably the last week of our cut. So Zach and I'll both be cut up. We can talk a little bit about the prep and everything. So stay tuned. Subscribe to the YouTube page. If you're on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, hit me up. JAY_Azeltine. Always willing to answer questions and so forth and engage. Love the engagement. Twitter's also JAY_Azeltine. Check out my YouTube page. I'm again trying to post more content on there. Zach, where can they find you at?
Zach Homol Power on all social media except for Snapchat. It's just Zach Homol. Thanks, guys. Always a blast doing the podcast. Jay, I'll talk to you soon, homie.
Peace.